So this is another image from Barnard. It's one of our finest, I think, one of our finest relief sculptures from Barnard. And it shows the Buddha lying on the couch on his deck and having had a meal from the blacksmith Chanda, which sadly poisoned him. What's extraordinary about this sculpture is the incredible grief which is so clearly expressed in the local nobility who've come to honor the Buddha. You can see their expressions of extreme grief. Below, you can see that the Buddhist Tanyi Vajrapani collapsing in grief, clapping his hand to his forehead, his thunderbolt held on his hand as he always lies on the floor. But one of my favourite details, in the top right, is this little tree spirit who's weeping into this cloth, the sadness at the passing of the Buddha. One figure does not show grief, and this is this disciple meditating underneath the couch. And this is thought to be the Buddha's last convert, Subhadra, who is dealing with the situation with much more equanimity. It's interesting, and I think it's a reminder for us that, in a way, the Buddha's achievement of Mahaparinirvana, passing into Nirvana, is in a way something to be celebrated, although, of course, for the people at times of very sadness. So interesting, I think very interesting psychological dimensions in this very emotionally complicated way of work of art. And you can see other figures of interest as well. This shaven-headed older monk probably represents Mahakashapa, who heard the news of the Buddha's illness and rushed with his followers along the road to come to the place where the Buddha had died. Fighting this naked ascetic may be the person who gave him the news of the Buddha's illness. There are other fascinating details. The little piece of architecture rather resembling a castle at the top. The clamps, the holes for clamps, for iron clamps, which would have held this relief in place. Because, of course, the Buddhist buildings of Gandhara would have been built on the core of rubble or brick and only faced with this very fine schist stone. So the stone is kind of the outer edge of the monument, perhaps the lower parts of the Buddhist stupa, where Buddhist pilgrims would have been able to venerate Buddha and see stories carved in stone of the Buddha's life. Other fascinating details, the beautifully carved couch with the pillow here, and these legs where a lion's head seems to be swallowing the top half of an elephant, and these big feet at the bottom. The tripod between Vajrapani and Subhadra, the tripod hanging a skin containing water. So all sorts of fascinating details, and of course the beautiful drapery of the Buddha reflecting those naturalistic aspects of the Gandharan style, and of course his halo behind his head. So the figure dating, the relief datings of perhaps around 2nd century of the Common Era, very much at the height of this narrative of the sculpture. I can see so finely executed in the Gandharan region. And of course, Gandhara, bringing together scholars that dimensions in various different regions, from Central Age India, with a very much distinct style. So this sort of Buddhism. So the Buddha is such an important moment. When he died, he was, of course, cremated, and on his cremation, his ashes were divided among 8 local tribes and kingdoms. So the surrounding rulers each got one portion of his relics, which were then enshrined under funerary mounds for stupas. And of course, this becomes an incredibly important part of Buddhist architecture. So I'm now going to talk about a couple of pieces which reflect that importance of the relics of the Buddha, and then subsequently of important Buddhist teachers in Buddhist architecture.